The man said some get $220 trillion. This man was an accountant.
No,
Then 9 zeros the man put there.
I just tell you, I'm not short.
Yeah, this is Scottishness here.
I'm not short.
I'm not Scottishness.
I'm not short. The chief mic on?
Yes. Ready?
My mic on?
Yes. Good evening to you. It is 19 hours 19 in Guyana and right across the Eastern Caribbean. Welcome to this special edition of the Lall show right here on the Radio with a Difference. As advertised and much anticipated, the Culture News publisher Dr. Lall and Vice President Dr. Jagdeo will have a discussion on a number of burning questions in the management of the oil sector and the state of the country. Without further ado, I would like to welcome these two gentlemen to studio this evening as they begin their conversation. Dr. Lall, Dr. Jagdeo, good evening, the floor is now yours.
Thank you, Joshua. Namaste to all you beautiful people listening from in and out of Guyana. Thank you for joining us for this special edition of the Lall show. Tonight, I have with me the former President and now Vice President, Dr. Jagdeo. He's no stranger to Guyana or to the Guyanese people. Mr. Vice President, welcome to this long-awaited conversation.
Thank you.
I am extremely happy to welcome you to our home, the Kite Show Radio. I have a lot of burning issues at hand to discuss, and I hope we can do this frankly, so that when we are finished tonight, the Guyanese people and I would be left better informed. Sir, I believe we are both working towards the same goal, getting the best out of our resources for all Guyanese. As human beings, we will agree on some things and disagree on others. This is normal and it is healthy for constructive conversations. Let us use tonight's program to create a common front in the battle for all Guyana. I have prepared, sir, a few simple, straightforward questions that require short, simple, straightforward answers. Are we in agreement, Mr. Vice President?
Well, first of all, let me thank you for having me here. As I said to you earlier, a number of people called me and said that I should not come on the program. And I told you that I will not allow anyone to program me. So having said that, I too share the view that we will speak frankly here tonight. But I hope our definition of speaking frankly is the same. Speaking frankly doesn't mean accepting your views. It means about when I hope that when we speak frankly and you find that you have been presenting erroneous information to the Guyanese public, that frankly you will admit that too tonight here in the spirit of compromise, and since we all want to work, as you pointed out, in the best interest of the Guyanese people. So I hope that that is what's going to happen.
Thank you.
Now, you said simple questions. As I said before, it's not an interrogation. I reserve the right to explain things because often, given the simplistic explanations that I see sometimes being portrayed in the newspaper and on the radio, I think that we owe it to the people of this country to give more nuance on the explanations and answers. So, having said that, I'm glad to be here. Let's proceed with your list of questions.
Thank you, sir. My first question to you. When the Exxon production sharing contract was first made public under the coalition government, you were highly critical of the contract Do you still share those criticisms of the contract?
I do.
Thank
I
you.
do.
My second.
And I will tell you now why I maintain the position that the contract is lopsided. We identified several areas. One, the total take for the Guyanese public. We believe that when the contract was renegotiated by Trotman, that we already had 3 billion barrels of proven resources in the ground. And that opportunity should have been used not to weaken the contract, but the 1999 contract, but to add benefits to it. The contract, if you look at Global Witness report, how the contract was negotiated, it was drafted by Exxon, sent to the government. I don't know what internal process it went through, but it was signed by Trotman almost overnight, contrary to public advice. And I said there are some elements that we are very unhappy with, and I outlined what the elements were. So I don't want to go into the details of that, but we maintain that the contract is lopsided. And we also said consistently in opposition that we will not renegotiate the contract. We will ensure that we have better contract administration. If we fail to have better contract administration and there was no room for that, then we'll take a harder line.
Thank you so much, sir, for that answer. Let us suppose you were in government during the time when the contract was being negotiated. What would you have done differently from what the coalition government did?
Well, it's a greater share of, there are some areas that we have issues with. We have issues with taxation. Even now we have a dispute with Exxon about vehicles. They wanted to bring in 20 SUVs and we said that's not covered by the agreement. You have to pay taxes on those. That is not a blanket concession. But the elements are taxation, ring fencing, the size of the royalty. These are the key elements. The price of gas in the contract. These are some of the key elements.
Thank you, sir. I want to ask you some direct questions related to the answer you just gave there. What rate of royalty you believe would have been fair to the Guyanese people?
Well, for me, really, I don't want to be premature tonight. I've said publicly that we have to issue new contracts, new PSA. We're working on a model PSA. The last question.
May I just stop you, sir?
Yeah, sure.
Not the new model. I am asking a question. Were you there negotiating the 2016 contract?
Yes.
What royalty rate you would have asked for?
So that is precisely what I'm answering. We are currently working on a new PSA. We, as a collective, not the individual Jagdeo, but as a collective, I told you that there are 3 variables that we are utilizing to see how that will govern the new PSA. The first has to do with the company's legitimate expectation that if they invest money, they should get a decent return on their investment. 2, leaving in the new PSA enough incentives to accelerate exploration and production. And 3, a greater share of the benefits for the government. So what we are currently working on, the discussion paper that will have to be completed soon as part of the auction that we launch later this month. we hope that we can launch it, but it will run for several months and conclude in maybe January, February next year. So the auction would be launched. We have to now have a new PSA to tell people what they're going to get if they come in on this auction. So that's where we have now looked, we've started this study where we are looking at the spectrum on take by different countries. So some countries are on the lower end, and countries like Norway and others, they could get as much as 75% of the total take. Right now, we are getting just over 50% of the total take. So where we move from between 50, 52, 59, whatever you define it as, moving to a higher point will be determined by those variables, how we settle those variables. And then through a combination of adjustments on royalty, maybe profit sharing, and the taxes, we will achieve that.
Thank you.
So this is, I'm just explaining to you, and one thing, Glenn, and we need to get clear. The reason I do some of this, because I want people to understand what we're thinking. Many times you're critical of the PPP government, but you've never had Granger, or Granger will never come, or Nagamutu when he was Prime Minister, or Trotman, one day to explain what the thinking was and what they are working on. And I want to take you a bet that the current leader of the opposition will not do this now, come here and sit down and tell you in great detail, because I've seen your attempts to ask him some specific questions and he goes back to general. They will never come and explain this. They will never do that. What I've just told you there, that's the thinking in government. So if I say royalty, well, you should have had a 5% royalty tonight. I'm preempting the discussion, the collective discussion that the cabinet would have. But that is a discussion that has to be had and settled before the end of the year.
Thank you, sir. My question was, what royalty rate you would have asked for the 16 contract? I didn't get an answer for that.
No. I'm just telling you what
let's move on.
Sure.
What percentage of profit sharing would you have been, in your mind, would have been fair to the Guyanese people?
It's 52% or 60% of the proceeds. Then you adjust each variable. You can still keep the royalty at 2% and take it on the taxes, or lower the taxes, keep the taxes where they are and take a higher royalty and achieve the same purpose. So it is like you're asking me now a question that where we want to be ultimately. I believe that the country should be getting a higher take. But that has to be through a combination of variables. But I'm not going to, like tonight, say 25%. This has to be done by the technical people.
No, my question is, 2016 contract that you criticize, my question, what percentage of profit sharing and royalty would have been reasonable in your mind?
Yes.
That's something already gone.
So
Let's
first
move on
of
to
all,
one second. What about taxes?
Yes.
Should the coalition have demanded the payment of corporation taxes, and should we be paying the taxes for the oil companies?
But again, taxes, if you agree that we will get 50% of the profit oil, which is part of the legislation, and then 2% royalty, and that's the total take. If you increase taxes then you have to go for a higher take. So it's all derived from what the ultimate, where you want to ultimately be. So if you say 60%, that should be the total 60-40 split of the proceeds, then you can do it, achieve that through different measures. You can achieve it through either higher royalty and leaving the taxes the same way, give them all the tax approvals, or give them, demand more taxes and leave the royalty at 2%, or a combination of the two, or change the profit sharing formula. So these are all derived things, and that's why it's more complex than just saying, oh, it has to be this. So when people say...
Sir, one second.
Yeah, sure.
My question is very simple to you. Should the coalition have demanded the payment of corporation taxes? And should we be paying the oil company taxes?
No, but the thing is that if you charge corporate tax now on it, frankly
my
speaking,
question is, should
frankly,
have, should have,
I don't think, I personally, I do not think that corporate tax, we have given corporate tax waiver to almost every in bauxite industry, in almost every sector. So if you demand corporate tax payment now, then, and a third, maybe 28%, what would that have resulted in? It would probably resulted in maybe a 60% share or something like that. I don't know what the number is.
Let's move on. Would you have agreed to all those concessions which were granted to the oil companies?
Now?
Well,
In
I'm talking about
2015,
2016 contract that the
and
coalition government signed. I'm asking you about what the coalition government signed on.
Let me tell you.
You said you disagree.
Yes.
Totally disagree. It's a bad deal. I'm asking you, simple, if you would have agreed to all these things that were granted. To the companies.
I would have sought a higher share.
Thank you.
A higher share, but I don't know how the higher share would have been composed. I can't say that because it could have been through several measures. It could have been leaving the taxes, all the taxes intact as they have now, and increasing the royalty rate, or alternately maybe charging the lower royalty rate and not giving all the tax benefits that they got. But the end result would have been a greater share of the profits to Guyana. That's what I'm saying. So I can't tell you specifically which one would have been altered, or a combination of all might have been altered. So, but I can tell you that we would have demanded a higher share of the profit from the company.
Hear you. Thank you. Would you have demanded control over the associated gas rather than placing this under the control of ExxonMobil?
I believe that the gas, the pricing formula, the gas...
Take control.
No, we're not total control, but we would not have been stuck with a pricing formula that they have in the agreement. That agreement. The pricing formula binds us to market value.
What about ring fencing, sir?
Yes, there would have been...
Would you have made that a priority if you were there negotiating
Ring fencing would have been adjusted, but I said to what extent I can't say tonight, but that is one of the things that would have been adjusted.
Do you believe that the coalition should have pressed for full cover liability in the event of an oil spill?
Yes, and I think the permits say that. All the permits.
Full cover liability?
Yes.
Could you point us to that permit? What part of the permit says that?
Let me...
No.
No. I can get you. You were asking me to point you to it, so I can point you to it if you want.
Full coverage liability, sir. Because
Yeah.
it's the same question,
Yes.
burning question that you have been asked so many times at press conferences, in which you have shown it over to the EPA when you asked for 2 billion. When you asked, when you
No.
you're
You're confusing a number of things. So if you check, the permit holder shall have insurance of such type and in such amount as is customary in the international petroleum industry in accordance with good oil field practices in progress in respect of loss or damage to assets, pollution, loss or damage to property, or bodily injuries suffered by third party, liability to the permit holder's employees, and such other requirements which may be made. Right? The permit holder must, as soon as reasonably practicable, provide parent company or affiliate company guarantees to the EPA undertaken to provide adequate financial resources for the permit holder and its co-venturers to pay or satisfy their environmental obligations. These were in all 4 of the licenses.
So you're saying that the parent company is supposed to
Yeah, so
to give a
you didn't know
guarantee.
that's in the agreement?
No. It's
Or
there.
you missed
It's
that
there,
point
but
in the agreement?
But we do not have a signed document that states that the parent company of Sinnock, Hess and Exxon will take on full liability in the event of an accident.
Yes.
That's very
So-
clear.
So
Because
then
you have
again-
been asking
Yes.
up
So
to, as recent
what-
for up to $2 billion coverage from the oil companies.
Yes. So that is what has been negotiated, and that is the guarantee that the parent companies said that they will do.
Fine, but I am asking, my question is full cover liability.
So
Full coverage.
again,
Yeah.
the thing is that if it's understanding this issue, EEPG
GL
is a Guyanese registered company.
company, correct?
They have the permit from the EPA. So this Guyanese registered company has a permit from the EPA. There are 3 investors that own this company. Okay? Sinnock, Hess, and Exxon. They own the company. So the company now has gotten a permit from the EPA, and they have to meet all their obligations to clean up any spill or any other environmental liability. This company has taken out $600 million for event insurance. So that company is paying for that. Secondly, this company has assets valued $6 billion. So assuming it fails to meet the $600 million, can't address a spill, to clean it up or meet all of its liabilities, the Guyanese public or the EPA has called on their assets of $6 billion. Now the parent guarantee is for financial resources, because that's assets that they have in the FPSOs and the other fixed assets, immovable assets. The parent guarantee is just to provide the financial resources in that period, so that they don't have to liquidate their assets to deal with any oil spill. So the parent companies are not paying for the oil spill. They're not operating in Guyana, the parent companies. EPGL is the operator and the owner of the assets. They have the permit. So the investors, their liabilities, they have agreed on top of EPGL insurance and on top of its assets, that they're going to layer this with a $2 billion basically cash flow so that the company has money immediately to deal with any environmental liabilities. I think we're mixing up this, that somehow we have given a permit to Exxon, the international company. We have not given an environmental permit to Exxon.
Mr. Vice President,
So, yeah.
EPGL is a subsidiaries of Exxon. And EPGL
EEPGL is a limited liability company registered in Guyana.
with $600 million cannot.
No. So let's get that
The
quickly.
financial wait,
you're-
let me speak.
You don't
Let me
want to, you're
Let me
getting
speak on
away
this
from
one.
the point.
speak. No, I'm not getting away from the point. EPGL is a subsidiary of Exxon. You said they're a local registered company in Guyana with 600 million assets, 600 million insurance policy.
Insurance,
It's
yes.
600 million
Yeah,
insurance
that's
policy.
we are paying for
600 million.
because we are part of this.
600 million insurance policy, sir, will not be enough to even take or clean a drum of oil spill out there.
Oh, really?
And sir, the assets they have is less than 55 million Guyana dollar in their financials of 2021. So that story you're telling.
Well,
you're telling me- One
no.
second,
Which financials are you
One
talking
second.
about?
The
The balance sheet in 2021 has immovable assets of 1.2 trillion Guyana dollars, which is equivalent to $6 billion US dollars. Which financial statement you talking about?
I will come back to that.
No, come back.
You're
Let's
talking-
talk about that
No, if you
because
talk
that's the
about
crux of
assets-
the issue.
No, if you talk about assets, if you talk about
That's
assets,
the crux of the matter.
No.
You were saying they only have 55 million.
No, if you're talking,
I'm saying-
about assets, sir, I'd like you to name their assets and of what benefit their assets out there have on a spill. What does it mean for a spill?
Glenn, what kind of nonsensical question? Let's take a
Go ahead.
company.
Go ahead.
Let's take a company.
Go ahead. The big
What?
issue, let's
No.
The big issue here is
No. The big issue is that you don't know how much assets this company has. That after writing so much every day in the newspapers about this company, you don't even know the size of their asset base.
This insurance,
And this Guyanese company.
this insurance policy, sir,
All
will
right.
take us- will
Then
take
let
us
me.
to tomorrow.
Can you?
I wanna
Let
move
me
on.
speak
I wanna
frankly.
move on. I wanna move on.
Don't move on.
All right. Take a minute.
I'm shocked. I'm shocked that you write so much about this company, and you're telling me today that their financials and show that they only had 55 million in assets in 2021, when it's actually 1.2 trillion dollars, which is $6 billion of immovable assets. Now, the reason you have immovable assets, you can, in case you go to court.
Are you talking about the inflated cost
Man,
on the assets out
whether
there?
it's inflated or not, you didn't
No,
know.
it is important
No,
because
you
at
didn't
the
know,
end
man.
of the day,
Whether
sir,
it's inflated
no,
or
no,
not.
at
All right.
the end of the day,
you didn't
money-
even know. That's stated in the document, but you didn't know
Can we
so
move on?
that means the company, if the 600 million is inadequate to handle the event, and they say a spill, and they then refuse to meet their obligations, the EPA then can dispose of the $6 billion in assets. Right? So
Can we move
that
on,
is
sir?
No. I just wanted you to know
I
that
hear you, I
that's
hear you.
important.
I
That's an
hear you.
important point. Not 55 million.
I hear you.
$1.2 trillion of assets.
I hear you clearly. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
All right, yeah.
Thank you.
So we're going to see an adjustment.
Let's
of that.
move to another question.
Yeah.
Would you have allowed for a stability clause which makes our National Assembly and our right to pass laws inferior to the interests of the oil companies?
Yeah. So any stability clauses are in contracts for anybody to make sure that if you plan an investment long run, that you don't have capricious governments come into office and change terms willy-nilly, and they can make your investment unprofitable. So the stability clause is not there, it's inviolate. If there is, let me tell you something, if you change anything, it means that the adjustments have to be made elsewhere. So for example, if you increase the taxes now, right, if you increase taxes, you probably have to compensate so that they can get the return that you agreed to, which is a 50% return on profit oil. That would have to be adjusted. So if you decide to take 60% now, right? You decide to take 60%, and there is a stability clause to say, we will make sure that you get your 40%. I think that's fair. So it comes back to what you agreed to at the beginning, and that it's a fair agreement. Then what's wrong with keeping a fair agreement stable? So I don't have a problem with that because I see.
So you're saying in the future PSA, you would install stabilization clause?
Yes, a stabilization clause should be in a contract, provided.
To the effect that of what we have.
No. But that is, once we have a higher take, we will ensure that the company gets what's in the agreement, which will be a smaller share of profit. But you can't. But they have an expectation that they will get that share, whatever the share is. It will be smaller because the government will get a bigger take, but we would have to stabilize that. It's okay. If you're running a business like that, you have an agreement with government, you Lall or any private company, and the government says you will get a 20% return on your investments. They should stabilize that. You should get your 20% return on your investment. Alternatively, if you change that, people are not going to invest with government or trust it.
Let's move on, sir. In light of what you said about you didn't agree with the 2016 contract, why is it that you're so reluctant to mention the word renegotiation? What is holding you back from utilizing the golden opportunity to extract from ExxonMobil a better deal?
Because of that precise stability clause that's in the contract, that the negotiation should have been more robust at the beginning. We should have gotten a higher share of the profits at the beginning. And then the stability clause would have been okay. But now the stability clause, even if you renegotiate, and it's imposed negotiation on the company, because I doubt they're going to agree to that now, they will have to compensate in any court of law.
So you find yourself in a jam.
In a serious jam. You can't.
And you just told us
Yeah.
that you are going to put the same stabilization clause in the future PSAs. What about?
Because
so what jam are you going to put? Let's say the next election you're out and the coalition are in.
Well,
You
then
put them back to the same-
you wouldn't have any investment in the country, because if every day you can change things just like that, if you can change, I wish you. In fact, when you get an agreement with government, you should say, don't put no stabilization clause. Let them change taxes every day. You know.
Let me ask this question. What would be your reaction if I am to win the pending tax case I brought against the state and ExxonMobil?
Well,
that is not my question. That question was sent to me by a Canadian.
yeah.
Well,
But I'm not dealing with hypotheticals. We'll cross that bridge when we can't get here.
you don't have a reaction?
No. We'll cross the bridge when we get here. Yeah.
Alright. So then, whose side you on? You
Yeah.
on my side or you on the On the side.
I'm not on any side at this time.
Are you sure?
I'm not on any side.
I love the answer.
Yes.
The Exxon contract is clear that this lousy 2% royalty paid to this country is recoverable. And this is listed under expenditure by ExxonMobil. I have the document here with me, right? Where do you stand on this 2% royalty? Look at here.
It's not recoverable.
It's not, it's here.
It's not coming
Okay,
from cost
thank you.
oil. It's
Thank you.
not coming from cost oil.
Okay.
So it is not recoverable.
Recoverable. Thank you.
Whatever
That's
document you
Thank
got
you.
there, we're clear about that.
Thank you.
We're clear about that. It is not recoverable. And you can waive any
It's the
document.
contract.
No, it is not recoverable.
Thank
And it's
you.
been
Thank you.
treated as not recoverable.
Thank you.
And I explained that
Let's
to
move
you.
on.
No, but you keep at this all the time, although you know differently, because we explain that when you take out the 50% coming, the 75% that goes to cost oil, that 25% remains. Okay? So of the 25%, we get 12.5 and they get 12.5. Then when you add the royalty share that we get, so we end up with 14.5 and they end up with 10.5. So that is why when you said that last year they made $320 million in profit, it was nonsense. 320 million US dollars, because they get 10.5% of the 25% that remains after you take out 75% every year to go to cost oil to pay back for the investment.
I'm hearing you loud and clear.
All right, and
The
that is
royalty-
right.
The royalty not being recovered.
It's
that's
not
what you're saying.
recoverable. Yeah.
Despite the contract with ExxonMobil, the right to recover
No.
in expenses. One
No,
second.
no.
1 second. That's according to you, right?
Yeah.
Good. You have demanded and gotten more on insurance and local content for Guyana on all 4 projects against the terms and conditions of the 2016 oil contract. So, Mr. Vice President, now we have seen these changes to the royalty arrangement, the insurance and local content. Are you still going to tell this nation that sanctity of contract still exists? Take the floor.
So I don't know who sent you that, but it's confusing.
I did. Well, okay,
It's
let me
confusing.
make it more simple. Let me
All
make
right.
it more
All
simple.
right. Let me
Let me make it more simple.
Yeah.
You just talked about the royalty
Yeah.
rates not being recovered, despite it is very clear here in the
Yeah.
contract.
Yeah.
Now you have made changes in the local content and the insurance. In the insurance, you have made that in all 4 projects. Are you still saying that this contract sits with sanctity?
So then,
Yes.
we made it clear, and I'm glad you actually asked this question.
Yes. Help me to understand.
Because
That's the nation
when we
contract.
said we were not renegotiating, when we were in opposition and we said we will respect the agreement, we understand the issue with the stability clause, we will change that agreement in the future to an agreement where there'll be a greater take for the government and the people of this country in any future agreement with the oil companies, that we don't know as yet whether it's going to be higher royalty or less taxes, but it will result, the net benefit will be Guyana will collect more of the profits than before. We said all of this many times in opposition. So now that's why I'm surprised that you're asking me this. So we are clear. But we said we're not helpless too. Although we are not going to renegotiate, that we believe that we can eke out more benefits from the existing contract through better contract administration, and because of the negotiating strength of a government. And so that is what from day one we set about doing. The first week the new government took office, we met with ExxonMobil and we said, we're going to monetize the gas by bringing this gas on shore. Yes, no. We're going to bring the gas on shore to generate power. And the price of that gas for the power plant will have to be, will not be at market value. We'll talk about it in a great time. Will not be. So that is one way. We believe now, the way that project is configured, we are getting an enormous benefit from this project, and I'll explain that when we come to it. Secondly, we said to them, we will pass local content legislation. Now the company's position, you don't need a law. You don't need a law, you can have a policy. We said no, we need a law with penalties for breaching it. So that the companies, if they don't meet the local content requirement and the targets, they can be penalized. And in that, we have, I believe, brought to Guyana, not to the government, because the government share is fixed in the contract, but we've allowed Guyana now and Guyanese companies to benefit from maybe $500-600 million US per year more in business. All of the rentals of buildings have to be done from Guyanese, from all the transportation, security, cleaning services, a whole range. Nearly 40 areas they have been carved out for, in some areas, exclusivity for Guyanese public. So that's one way of getting more business for our people.
Thank you.
By not altering the contract, but by imposing some new conditions on how they operate in Guyana. That is what we have done.
So you're saying clearly, sir, that the royalty rates that altered the contract, the insurance which altered the contract, and the local content.
No. The royalty rate did not alter the contract.
All right.
From the beginning, the contract said that the royalty is not recoverable unless the minister gives approval for that.
That's another.
Yes.
That's
no,
another,
but the minute, but
that's
no,
another,
no. But there is no. It's not recoverable, and the insurance issues have to deal not so much with the contract, but the EPA permit. That's a different agency.
All right.
So ensuring, so we did strengthen the environmental permits, and in 4 areas that were not there under the old permits on the APNU, in LISA 1 and LISA 2, we strengthened the provision governing wastewater and treatment of wastewater. Secondly, we got a commitment from them to cradle to grave management of waste.
We're deviating.
No. I'm telling you how we strengthen those provisions too. So we believe that Guyanese, now in the last 2 years under the PPP, we have gotten more out of this contract than would have gotten under APNU because of our strong administration. I know you want us to say that we have violated the contract because we have done these things.
You have. But you don't want to accept it. But let's move on.
No, so if we have done that, and Exxon didn't go to court, that's a great thing to happen.
That's my point. That's my point.
That's a great thing. If we violated the contract and got more benefits for our people and they didn't go,
that's
it's
exactly
a
what
great
I'm saying.
position.
Because I don't know where you said in the contract that royalty is not being recovered. When I have it in my hand here, you have gotten insurance, you have gotten local content, and
we've gotten a lot of things
and that interfered with the contract. And you're still talking
not
about
violating.
You violate the contract.
No,
let's move on.
creating the new conditions under which the contract is being implemented.
All right, you want to say you create conditions? Let's leave it with that.
Yeah.
Sir, speaking as a businessman, checking investments and verifying costs in any partnership business is the most vital, important tool to control crookishness and abuse by one or the other in any partnership business. I have listened to you and watched your reaction, how timid you are when it comes to monitoring ExxonMobil costs, monthly
You
or,
right out a long thing there.
or-
You said you last
or
straightforward question.
quarterly, monthly or quarterly, and even their projected spendings. Tell me why you are so hesitant.
But Glenn, again, you're not being truthful. You asked about the last press conference, either
Yes.
you or someone
My
asked,
staff asked the question.
about
Yeah.
whether we have a real-time monitoring. Do we do, or shouldn't we do real-time monitoring of cost?
Yes.
And I said, and I maintain up to today, that there is no way that you can do real-time monitoring
I
of
have it
cost.
in my hand here.
Right?
I have it in my
What
hand.
do you have there?
I have the clause which speaks
But
of,
you see,
of what are the rights to Guyana for monitoring all ExxonMobil spending.
no one. Let me.
quarterly, and yearly.
No.
It says here.
So
You want me to read it?
you will get a chance to read it.
Right.
But let me tell you why reading that doesn't make any sense.
Okay.
You ask whether we can monitor real-time costs. Now, real-time is defined.
The reporter may have made a slight error in her
A
choice
slight
of
error.
words.
Oh, a slight error. That's a big.
choice of words by saying real time.
Time, right.
But we have it very clear here.
No, but
that
you
says
can't-
monthly.
If your reporter said real-time of
Yeah.
monitoring of costs,
And I also defend monthly is real time in such a business.
no, because
This
you're
is not
not.
a cake shop business.
No. It is not cake shop, and you're trying to make it cake shop.
No, I am
So-
saying
so-
monthly is
No.
considered real time
Yes.
in this type of
So are
business.
you going to give me a chance to
Yes, go
explain
ahead,
it?
go
So
ahead.
you said real-time monitoring
Yes,
of costs.
real time.
I said unless you have co-management, you can't do that. And I maintain that until today. Now there is a provision in the contract where it says that you can get the financial statements. Financial statements
No,
on
No.
a monthly basis. Read that
not financial.
on a monthly and quarterly basis with the key components of cost, right in those quarterly or monthly statements.
No, sir.
There is
no,
a
sir. 1 second, sir. 1 second.
read the whole provision.
No.
Because clearly
The
you didn't.
contractor.
No. Yes,
Let
read
me
the whole
read it. Let
provision.
me read the whole thing. The contractor shall prepare, with respect to each calendar quarter,
Yes.
on a monthly basis, if requested by the minister in writing, a statement of expenditure and receipts
Yes.
under the agreement. The statement will distinguish between exploration costs, development costs, and operating costs, consistent with the individual categories specified in section 2 and 3 herein, and will separately identify major items of expenditures within the categories. The statement will show, the statement will show following A, actual expenditures and receipt on a monthly basis for the period in question.
Yes. Yeah. So now,
And go on, yes.
So
Clearly,
now-
so that's very clear.
now you have the financials.
Yes.
You have the
No, this,
financials.
this we have the
Yeah, but the financials are made up of expenditure and receipts. That's what financials are.
Yes, I understand.
Yeah,
very clear.
so you have that. So
And
it's,
this is what the girl was
it
asking.
is also it's post expenditure. It is not real time. It's post expenditure that you get it. So it's expenditure already made, and that is the issue why it's not real time. In the same contract, it says that you can only audit once a year. So you can only audit once a year. So even if you go into audit you can't audit it more than once.
Yeah, but the question wasn't audit. The question here,
But how are you going to
Yeah.
question it except you audit?
no, the question was monitoring, sir. Audit. And
But
monitor
that
is
you're
two
not
different things we're talking
monitoring real time. It's post expenditure.
about. Because it's a large business.
Yes, but it's post
the people,
expenditure.
no, sir. The people talk about monthly.
Man, you don't know the difference between real time and post. It is expenditure already made. They're only reporting on the expenditure made.
You know, sir.
That is what it says there.
without
How could
due-
it be 1 month after and it's real time?
With all due respect to you, where business is concerned, I take offense for you. if you
No,
tell
but
me.
if there's a real time
Let's-
and post
let's move on.
expenditure.
Let's move on. Let's
But
move on.
this is the key distinction. It is not real time. To do real time monitoring, you have to sit in the business. You have to, when the bids come in, you have to say, what are these bids for? Why is it that you have 3 bids here and why you're not going with the lowest of the 3? That's when you monitor real time.
Dr.
But
Jagdeo,
1 year, 1 month after
Dr.
is
Jagdeo,
post. Yeah.
With this type of oil business, sir, we do not have 10,000 people to monitor every boat or not.
Yes.
That Exxon and the oil companies spend. But we have the authority to demand every single bill spent on a monthly basis from these people. And that was the question Kiana Wilberg was asking you. What
No,
do we have
she-
in place? What do we have in place to monitor? And she just made a slight error in judgment by using
No,
the
no,
wrong
no,
word
but
of real-time monitoring.
Real time monitoring. So that is precisely the difference between. So you said
I hear you.
the newspaper article then continued that I said that you can only do co-management for real time monitoring, but there is this provision which provides for real time monitoring. It is not a provision that for real time monitoring. It's post. All the expenditures have to be audited post when they're made. Okay?
Let's move on. Let's move on. Trinidad had 38,000 employees checking, verifying and authorizing every bolt or nut during their reign in the energy sector. How many workers we have checking anything, authorizing anything?
Trinidad been producing oil and gas for 100 years too. We're just the 3rd year into it. 100 years. And up to now, you look at it, they never had a local content policy, a real local content policy. They didn't have one, we have one. So I believe that.
Workers and public.
No, but I'm telling you, because how are you going to get 38,000 workers? We're not going to even hire 38,000 people in the sector. Yes, exactly.
How much we have.
No, but I'm telling you, it doesn't matter numbers. I don't believe in the numbers. We could have 10 and do a better job than Trinidad and Tobago because we started off by having a local content policy that is really, they don't have, that directs.
Let me ask, would you be heading towards the real-time monitoring? And if we're going to head that way, then you need.
No. We cannot do real-time monitoring because it means we'd have to co-manage
Alright.
the operations.
And we don't have that.
We
Okay,
don't
let's
have.
move on. Let's move.
Yes.
to
Yeah. No.
Let's
So
move
that's
on.
okay.
Exploration costs.
Yes.
The leasing and renting of these floating ships, the
Yeah.
FPSOs, the supply boats, helicopters, rigs.
Yeah.
These run into billions of American dollars, sir. Who's authorizing and monitoring these massive contracts, costs, and spending? You want to share some light on that?
The thing is that how you're asking me, I just told you that we don't have co-management.
No, this has nothing to do with co-management. This has to do with contracts in which Guyana is losing billions of American dollars due to rental of rigs and helicopters.
But
and
how are we
supply boats and all
losing
this.
billions of dollars?
Who's authorizing these things?
No,
Wait, my question is, so Exxon, Sinop can just rent a boat and just hand us a bill for $200-300 million? That's what I'm
So the
asking.
thing is that we have a an arrangement now. This is a company that is run with a president, a CEO, staff. The government doesn't run the company. The company raises money. It had to raise 20 billion US dollars to invest in the 4 FPSOs. They're investing this money in their FPSOs. They're making expenditure. They're sharing, paying back what they borrowed, and then they're paying a share in royalty and profit oil to the government. The company is being run by a group of individuals. Their expenditure.
Part of that?
No. That's it. How would Guyana be part of it? It is the EEPGL Guyana Limited. It is a company that the 3 shareholders incorporated in Guyana, and they are running the operations. They raise money and they spend the money, and then they give us a share of royalty and profit oil, which we collect. Now, if they make an expenditure, so we don't go out to tender for them. We've now directed through local content law how the tender must be done. But we don't do the tendering. We don't approve the expense. It's done at a company level. Where we get a chance to have a look at the expenditure is when we do the audits. And now there are 2 types, 2 audits that have to be done. One mandated by the contract and one by the GRA. So 2 audits. That's when you get a chance to question these expenditures. So if we believe the expenditure is excessive, for example, if they're buying
The FPSO.
the FPSO. All right, so the FPSO, if it's excessive, it's outside of industry standard, then you can question it there. But it is in accordance with industry standard. That's what the auditors look at. So that is how it operates. So how are you gonna, if it's like you own a company, Kite News Limited, and then you want the government to come in and look when you buy your newsreel, your paper for the newspaper, and then approve where you buy it from too. That's not how limited liability companies operate. So that's how it operates.
So Guyana, in a 50-50 business, have no say on these rig.
We don't own
rental.
50% of the company. That's a mistake that so many people make. That they think we own 50% of this company. The company is 100% owned by Sinuk, Hess, and Exxon.
So
it's
why,
unincorporated in Guyana.
so why are they taking out $1.4 billion for Liza 1, $1.2 billion for Liza 2 FPSOs, if we don't have ownership or shares here?
What do you mean they take out?
If
If we don't have ownership.
Liza Destiny
Yes.
cost us $1.2 billion.
Yeah, no, but what do you mean a take out? Take out.
Well, that is money coming out of our as expenses from our.
No, but we not providing the money. We not owners. We don't have to provide the 20 billion that they.
We are not providing, but whatever they spend, whatever they say spend.
But
has to
if
come
you're a
out-
company,
has
you
to
borrow,
come out
you
from
got to
our
spend.
oil. Has to come
No,
out
but
from
it got to
our
come
oil.
out from. If you borrow, again, if you borrow and to run the company and to invest in assets, you don't have to pay back for these assets. Where you think you're gonna raise $20 billion from? So the problem is.
So the rental, you're saying.
So you didn't know that we don't own 50% of this company?
So the rental of the rigs, the rental of these supply
Yeah.
boats, the rental services, we're paying to the helicopters every 15 minutes of the Vogel. We have no say, no business in that.
No,
That's what you're
it's
saying?
like you want to run every if the men them go down the road and buy 2 Polaroid, then we got to buy that. Our chance that we got to look at that. Our chance to monitor their expense comes when we're doing the audits to
But
see
I'm saying-
if it's reasonable. And you know why we're doing that? If we do it only for one purpose, to see that the 50% profit oil that we're entitled to is not understated, because the cost back, the cost oil is inflated, the expenditure is inflated, so more share of the total revenue has to go to satisfying inflated expenses. That is why you do this. We need. Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't know that we don't own 50%. You said if we own 50% of the company, we don't.
I'm just listening to you, sir.
Yes, we don't own
listening to you,
50%.
sir. Can we get a commitment from you that these costs, all these costs, made public what are being thrown at us?
Yeah,
All the costs.
yes. I don't know if the agreement makes it clear, but if it's being audited, I don't believe that it should be secret.
So the nation will able to
Yeah,
see
so
costs
I don't right now.
being thrown.
If there
by
is
anyone.
if there is nothing, what?
So we'll see now. Just my computer has a bit.
Or your computer got glitch, all your questions now
Yeah.
not showing up
It's okay.
anymore
It's
on,
okay.
on
It's
the
okay.
computer.
All right. Let me ask.
Give me some more tea.
Yes, and you're asking that. So we'll get to see.
Yeah,
it.
fix
We'll-
my computer
we'll
while
get to
I'm
see
getting
it.
some.
Now, you didn't honor your promise to this nation to investigate the Kaichur and Kanji oil blocks giveaway. What are you? Somebody has convinced you not to do that?
Which
The Kaichur and
Yeah.
Kanji investigation. The
but
probe-
no,
the
we
probe that you promised to
yes. What probe was it? Remind me about this probe.
you said you would investigate the Kaichur and Kanji oil blocks.
Yes, but when did I say this?
At your very first press conference you held,
That we
When-
will
when-
invest.
yes,
no,
sir.
I'm not. I'm sure we don't need to investigate these. You were asking about the beneficial owners, and I said we will provide that information, and we provided the information. What is there to investigate? They got the standard contract, which is a bad contract that we know, because Exxon and the others got the same contract.
so
You asked who the beneficial owners are.
well we wanted to know who are the beneficial owners.
Right, and you know the
promised an
beneficial owners now.
investigation.
We release who the beneficial owners are.
You promised to do an investigation.
No, but
Well, it's more than just a benefit. No, we haven't seen the beneficial owners of the Kaichur Kanji oil blocks today.
yeah, you have not seen that? Well,
No,
we
we have
can
not
get
seen
that to you if you haven't seen it.
Well,
It's
no.
just that you might have an oversight, yes.
All right. So I'm going to see that.
But let me
I
ask you
have- I have-
ask you a question.
yes.
Do you think that Guyanese should be able to bid in the new auction that we have?
Perfect. Yes, I agree.
But they don't have any experience. You said that we shouldn't have given Guyanese your newspaper in the past because they don't have any experience.
Well, you and your party has given away all the oil
No,
blocks.
no. Don't get a little
So-
emotional
So-
because
no,
women
no.
point this
No,
out.
I'm not getting emotional.
So-
you and your party has given away all the oil blocks to most of the people that didn't even meet the basic criteria.
Well, all right,
of
so-
owning an oil block.
So no. But here, do you?
I believe that once they are capable
No, but they don't
I'm
have any
competent.
experience. What do you
and
think?
competent with experience, we should.
You're
If not-
contradicting yourself.
If not,
If they because
If
they don't
not,
have
we should-
experience, nobody ever did oil in Guyana.
if not, we should throw it on the open market, on an auction, and get the best out of it for the Guyanese people. Can we just...
No.
can we just
But
move
so
on?
you are in favor or not
Can
of
we just-
Guyanese bidding?
I believe that
allowing
I
Guyanese
believe
to-
that the resources of this land, be it oil blocks or mining blocks, should go into the public domain on public actions so that we can get the best price.
Yeah, but that's
for
what
the
we're
people.
doing. That's what we made a commitment in our manifesto to do, and we're doing now.
Thank you. I think I have 2-3 more questions.
Yes, yeah. No, you can
A few
have
months
as many
ago-
more. Yes.
A few months ago, the UK slapped on a 25% windfall tax.
Yeah.
The United States and Canada both raised their royalty rates on oil companies in their respective countries. 3 days ago, the United Nations head called on all oil producing countries to impose windfall taxes on oil profits, excessive oil profits. On top of that, the IMF has offered free advice on how to do it. What you say to the Guyanese people?
My
As the
point
man
is
who's
that
getting listed.
if we had not charted our own way forward, we would have been in crisis like many of these countries are currently in. So the UK is now seeking to borrow $100 billion. The new guy who is Chancellor in the Liz Truss government said he wants to borrow $100 billion
The fact that they slap on
to subsidize the cost of energy. The UK was trying before COP26 to get the world to ban the use of coal. And now the UK has started using coal again in its power plants. So I don't think the same developed world before COP26, the US government and European Union were saying no country must invest in oil and gas assets now. Because no. I'm telling
saying
you.
that the three countries raised royalty rates and one slap on taxes.
Yes, but
what is your position on
because I'm saying these countries are no standard, they're duplicitous. They're no standards to determine our policy.
You don't want nothing more. You're comfortable with what the contract the coalition government signed. That's what you're saying?
No, we're saying we will not impose a windfall tax.
Yeah, but you have the United Nations here, who's offering, and the IMF, who's offering advice how to go about getting more from your.
Do you know what the same Secretary General of the UN said? That countries that are developing their oil and gas resources are immoral. He said that. Why would I listen to someone who says that? Because he comes from Europe.
No, sir.
He comes from Europe, and in Europe they don't want Africa or the Caribbean, like Guyana and Suriname, to use their oil and gas resources. They don't want Africa to even monetize its gas. But they're busy doing the same things. And they're the most cozy company with the oil and gas companies.
Whether they're cozy or not.
No, well, I just said to you, no to the windfall.
No to windfall taxes.
Yes.
And no to increase of royalty rates. So the same contract you cost in 2016, you're now saying the people are offering you free advice how to get more for your people. So and you're not going down that.
Because their contracts, they don't have stability clauses.
Every contract.
No. You let
the United States contract and Canadian oil contracts have exact stability clause in them.
Yeah,
let's move on.
The taxes that the government will pay their taxes. That the government will pay their taxes for them. They have that in the US or Canada. That's precisely why. Because you just made the point. You're contradicting yourself. That you're saying that those countries don't have an agreement where it says that the country shall pay the taxes on behalf of the country. Company.
Only Guyana contract.
Only Guyana contract has it. And that is why they can impose a windfall tax, because it does not mean that there will be a violation of the contract and they'd have to pay the taxes on behalf of the companies.
No, sir.
In our case, if we do that,
we are paying the taxes for the oil companies in our contract. The US is not paying taxes for their oil companies in their contract. And they raise their royalty rates. We are losing taxes, and you're not even, you're saying
you're contradicting yourself. Listen.
Go slowly, please.
Listen, slowly. So one is that we have a stability clause, which says the government of Guyana shall pay all the taxes on behalf of the company,
Yes, sir.
right? That's clear?
Yes, sir.
Two. So the United States, Canada, the others don't have that clause.
No, sir, I don't know.
So these companies pay their normal taxes in the US
in the
and
US.
other
Okay,
places.
perfect.
So they can then adjust their tax rate without creating liability to the state. Right? They can increase their tax rate because there is no stability clause. If we increase our tax rates, whether it's through windfall tax or a higher corporate tax or an adjustment to consumption tax, it is in violation of the
I
contract.
get you.
And that is the explanation.
I hear you.
So
I hear you.
you understand what I'm arguing? What
I
I'm
hear
saying?
you
Yes.
loud and clear.
Okay.
You're not going down that road. Have you
No,
sought,
but
have you sought any
you,
legal advice?
but you understand that. So don't worry with the IMF. They never ran a country. The IMF, they come with their gratuitous
I'm not worrying
advice.
about
Yes.
the IMF, sir. I'm worrying about the US, Canada,
But
and
let's
the UK.
but let's go back
Can
to
we-
the same countries now
Can we
on the
okay.
climate change
I
side.
get you where you are on that. You're not going to touch the contract, you're not going to touch royalty, and you're not going to touch windfall taxes. We'll have to stick with what we have.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying. Thank you. Let's move on.
Yes.
Are we satisfied where this US, are you in particular, satisfied where this US $1 trillion oil sector is at present? This
How much?
US trillion, yes. Are you satisfied with where the sector is at present?
That's a general question.
Yeah,
Like,
because
what do you
you're-
mean
you're
by
in charge.
satisfied?
You're-
Yeah, no, but
you
what's
are
satisfied like what?
command.
Like, yeah, but what you mean?
Where we are as to how we managing this sector, the entire sector.
So, first of all, we recognize that there would have to be a steep ramp up of learning, and we'd have to adjust. There'd be a number of policy making issues that will haunt us until we have a settled regime, because we're new to this business. Many countries have
6
had
years.
Yes, many countries have had hundreds of years of producing oil and gas. The Saudis, the Qatar, Kuwait, and stuff like that, they've been producing oil for 50 years and stuff like that. So 6 years, relatively new. I believe with the pace here, we have kept protecting the national interest. And I'm talking about a period when we have accountability for. That is from 2020 to 2022. In that period, we have achieved quite a few things. We have strengthened the environmental permits. We have done that in a major way. We have put, I explained some of the provisions, a tax for flaring and all of that, which few countries in the world have. We've strengthened the environmental permit. We've strengthened protection of the country from that perspective.
And you're happy with where we are.
Right, so that has been done. We have licensed and strengthened the licenses for the FPSOs, and they have all been made public. They've all been made public, and you see that about the inspection and everything else, and them paying for inspection. That's the second element. Thirdly, we have passed local content legislation, which is a game changer for Guyanese business. Fourthly, we are now moving to, at the end of this month, to launch an auction, which has never been done in this country, to publicly bid the blocks offshore. So that is major. Then we are currently working on the legislation, the 1986 Petroleum Act. We've strengthened the ministry enormously. Far way to go as yet, far way to go, but this has been done. So when you look at things generally, overall, I think 2 years, busy period for us. We've gotten production up, we've licensed several FPSOs, and we still are keeping the sector going. And then on the gas to energy. You didn't ask me about that as yet.
I'm coming to that.
Okay. So don't go down as yet here, but the gas to energy, I believe, has been one of our major achievements so far to get it to a point where we are.
I hear you, sir.
Yes. So I'm pleased. I'm pleased that we have put all of this effort in 2 years in improving the regime, getting more for our people, and with the keen knowledge that we'll have to do much more in the future.
I hear you, sir. Do you go to bed satisfied that you've done your best representing the Guyanese people in the southern sector every day?
Yes, every
I'm
single day.
I'm happy.
Because
so let's move on.
you
Thank
never see the
Thank you.
negotiations that
We
take
know,
place.
we know that you have made legislative changes, such as the local content
Mhm.
and the Natural Resource Fund Act.
Mhm.
What other legislation you're looking at presently, and what organizational changes the government has put in place to manage this other sector?
So I pointed out to you the legislation, right? So
Yeah.
first of all, I forgot the Petroleum Act.
Yeah.
Because when I mentioned about all the changes we had, the Petroleum Act, not the Petroleum Act, the Natural Resources Fund. And we didn't get much credit for that. But we have, when we explain the provisions, the same IMF that you love so much said it's one of the strongest pieces of legislation. Because we have now, in terms of receipts, and so I see a lot Jordan coming here, suddenly he's a specialist on oil and gas. Jordan shouldn't even speak about oil and gas.
You're not here to
No, but I am here to talk about him too, because I have to contrast behavior.
My question,
And you
my
don't-
question, sir, very simple. You have made changes.
But
content.
you mentioned
You
the
have
word
made
Natural
changes,
Resources
Natural
Fund.
Resource
So
Fund.
I want to tell,
All I'm asking,
I want
what
to
other
tell,
legislation-
I want to tell the public,
Yes.
because invariably your newspaper misrepresents what we have done in the Natural Resources Fund in terms of transparency.
I didn't ask you for that, you know, sir.
But just recently, I'm here also to correct some of the lies in the newspapers.
No, I'm
One
just
of them,
asking you
no,
questions.
just things that you ask. I'm here to correct some of those. So they're every day. They're like some of these, some lies. So let me start with that one. It is not true. We can go on long. It's your radio program. I don't mind spending more time
Okay.
here. I came here tonight to talk about
Thank you.
lots of things.
Thank you.
So, for example, your newspaper said that we reduce or we weaken oversight. We have not weakened oversight. We've strengthened oversight in the Natural Resources Fund. I went through it several times. There are 4 key elements where strengthening has been done. On receipts of fund. Do you know that we're one of the few countries in the world, maybe if not just one other country, has this legislation, where every cent paid into the fund, any receipt, has to be published in the official gazette, and Parliament has to be notified within 3 months? No. But let me get a chance to explain that, because you like to talk about other countries. You bring examples from Kenya and from India.
If you want
and
to talk,
from, yes.
if you want to talk about the
All right.
Natural Resource Fund
Yeah.
Act, we have to go back from the start. And
All right, go back from the
time
start.
for that.
No,
That
but
Natural Resource
but
Fund
you don't
Act
want
was
me to
passed-
expose. You
that-
don't want me to expose the lies that you
That
continue
Natural
with.
Resource Fund Act was passed on the 29th of December, when people were having a good time, in the wee hours in the night. That's one. It was passed without any jail time in that act. So let's not go.
No,
to that.
no.
That's not the question I'm asking. I don't want to hear.
But
I wanna
then
hear-
again,
I don't want to-
again,
I
your
don't want to go to-
anecdotal understanding of the issue causes.
Every other.
No. But you just said something.
Every other Natural Resource Fund Act has a specific clause how they deal with officials handling and dealing with that fund.
Yeah, look, listen.
Only ours didn't have that.
Listen.
And there's so many things we can talk about.
But again,
I
you're...
I don't
No. Let's settle. You just
My
spoke
question
something
to
here.
you, sir. My question to you, sir, was very simple. You have
All
made
right.
changes.
No.
Sir,
Listen,
please,
on
please.
that one,
Please.
can I
Please.
just tell you one thing here?
Go ahead.
That what you
One
just said is a total lie. That where the fund was passed, if the Minister of Finance fails to publicly to notify Parliament or they publish in the official gazette within 3 months any receipt, he goes to jail for 10 years. Where in the world or in the old act was that in place? You just said there is no jail term.
Sir, we can spend.
No. You just lied again. That's
We can
what
spend a
happens
whole-
with your newspaper.
We can
You
spend a
don't
whole
read
year
the stuff.
talking-
You don't read the fund.
We can spend a whole
You
year
have never
talking
read
this.
the document, but you go based on what hearsay. You just repeated a hearsay there.
What other legislation
No. But
are in place?
do you concede that you made an error
No,
adjustment?
I did not make it.
Well, how come you said no jail term?
It's every other.
Right.
every other
No,
natural
but how
resource-
come you said that? Which other natural resource
All.
fund you're talking?
Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya, every single
Right.
one.
Yeah.
They have a
and
specific
they have-
clause,
Man,
right?
you're
And
talking
when
about-
Ashley Singh was asked that question, right, he said, "Well, Guyana got law for deal with thief, man." But every other natural resource fund act
Man,
has
you're
it.
just gapping.
All right,
You're
let's
gapping.
look.
You're
My
gapping.
question to you was, sir, you have made changes in the natural resource fund act.
And so you
local
believe
content.
that it's not good changes?
Yes.
Oh, the changes
I'm
are good.
asking what other legislation are you
All right,
working
so-
on and organizational changes within there.
So that's what
management.
I mentioned
That's what I wanted.
to you. So
Yes, thanks.
we, the Natural Resources Fund, the local content, the Petroleum Act,
Petroleum Act,
the
yeah.
1986 Petroleum Act,
Is that being
that is being
are we-
reworked now.
Are we gonna see that like in 2-3 months time?
No, maybe
Or another 5
probably
years.
about maybe, let me see,
No, that's what I'm
probably
asking.
around February, March of next year. The Petroleum Act
Petroleum.
will be
What
in
else-
place.
what else are we- what
Those
else are
on the legislative side, if we have to make provisions for the auction to take place, because currently we may not, the laws don't allow for that to happen just like that.
You know,
We
you have
need that.
mentioned, you keep mentioning, you mentioned twice on auctioning of the oil block, of the relinquished parts of the oil blocks. And I'm not too keen talking about that. For me, that's neither here nor there, it's too petty. I want to move on.
Auction is petty. You're the man who said,
I want to ask you, sir.
Suddenly
about
it's petty.
organizational
Right.
changes.
so do you want to, would you buy into a block? Let me ask something.
No.
Now, if you had a block, Lall, just assuming you were investing, what kind of tax regime would you want? Agreement
I don't
that
want-
will see that you raise $1 billion or $2 billion.
I don't-
Because the converse has to apply too. That if you had this, what kind of concessions you would want from the government? Because you had a newspaper and you wanted duty free. I don't think you got it on your printing press.
Mr. Jagdeo.
You want it and you got a little newspaper. And
We're not here to talk about oil blocks. What?
you just mentioned that.
Yeah, but I'm not. That's neither here nor
All
there.
right.
I want to get to that. I don't want no oil blocks. I don't want no mining blocks. I ask you. I text you and ask you to bring the mining contracts that you have promised to bring and to make public. Have you brought it for us?
No, what? I'm not your post office.
No, I know.
But
that
I
you're not
told
my
you,
post
I
office.
told you that
They have all refused.
all
They have all
these
refused.
are not with the office of the president. They're with the agencies.
And they have refused.
Every agreement that is signed, that is sitting with the GRA or the agency.
They have all refused.
Well,
to
then
hand
you
over.
need I told you the Freedom of Information Act allows you to take some steps.
Why do this nation, why the media has to be on a weekly basis behind a government to ask them, to
Because
beg them
they-
for something
So what
as
did-
simple,
so
for something
station-
as simple
did-
as a mining contract?
But
You
did
guys give out to
Stacia,
foreigners.
write you back on the matter?
He did not write. I write station. I also wrote the GGMC, and they both
So
they
the
both-
GRA never responded to you?
both said no.
But how did they say no? Did they respond and
You
they
see,
told
sir,
you?
sir, like again.
No, but
again,
my
again,
thing
I don't
is
want
that
to go
why-
down this road. 3 times I've asked you this at 2 different press
Yeah.
conferences in which you made it clear that yes, these and the law is very clear on that. The people of this country should and must see these contracts you people
Which,
sign.
not the oil contracts,
I'm talking about the mining contracts of gold, diamond,
because all the oil
timber,
contracts are
and
available, publicly available.
manganese contracts, all these contracts should be in the public domain, sir.
Right.
Why are you guys keep hiding it from this nation?
Well-
Why? I still cannot.
No, but
Fact on
that
that.
you're characterizing this as hiding these contracts.
Well, I'm asking
for me,
you, I've asked you
for
many
me
times.
personally, I don't see any reason why you should not have
And I've
these
been hearing
contracts.
that answer all the time.
But it's the agencies. I don't have
As
these
Vice
contracts.
President, I'm asking you tonight on this radio, would you take it, make your duty, and ensure that this is being released to the public?
So
to the-
I
to the
I
media?
can undertake to find out with you there what provision the GRA is so cagey about that it doesn't want to release,
GGMC.
and GGMC. So I can undertake to
The
do
law
that.
is very clear.
I
on
don't
that.
know, yes, if the law is that these contracts have to be made public, they should be made public.
You don't-
I think, no. I just think that there may be proprietary things that they're worried about. But if the law is clear, then they should release these contracts.
What? We
There
don't
is
need-
nothing in there to hide.
All right, let me make it more clear and simple for you, sir. Propriety information, I don't need.
All right, so
Nobody needs that.
Then I will undertake that anything that is not proprietary,
Good.
that you get it
And
released,
you're not-
because I will personally now see that this happens.
And you're not going to tell me that concessions is part of propriety.
No.
You're not going to tell me that the deal,
No.
the contractual arrangement between Guyana.
No.
and-
But
Okay,
concessions
thank you.
are public issues. What people get in their contracts.
Thank you. So we'll hold
Right,
you.
yeah,
We'll
yeah.
hold you. We'll hold you to that. Thank you, sir.
But this one here
Can we
is
sit-
just
can we
means
sit
it's going
here?
on for too long. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. And it's getting tiring on this subject matter because I have seen what Africa has become because of things like this. I've been there and seen it for myself.
Really?
And I take this.
If Africa had a newspaper like I sure they'd probably be worse off today. It'd be worse off today because with all the lies, every day we gotta fight all the lies.
I
here.
take that in good faith.
No, it's not
can we
good.
switch, can we switch gears, Mr. Vice President? To the largest project in the history of Guyana, the Wales Gas to Shore project. Who are the experts and specialists advising you and the government on this project?
Okay, so Stantec on the power plant. We have Stantec is a group that we recruited, and then on the pipeline and others, Exxon.
Mhm. Thank you. What financial feasibility studies have been done for this project with the new specifications? Hear me? New specifications that carries a new unknown price tag on it.
Well, Glenn,
Talk to me.
I'm getting tired
Talk
of
to me.
explaining the same thing over and over again.
Mhm.
It's people who haven't done anything. Like I see Norton once.
No, this is Glenn Lall asking you this.
But people who haven't built anything. If we bother with them, we wouldn't build a single road. You too.
No,
If
sir.
we were, because people
No,
could
sir.
get accidents. No, hold on.
Yes.
Because you've been talking about this over and over again,
Yes.
and it's what financial feasibility study you need more when currently you're paying at $95 for heavy fuel oil, bunker C. 95. A few weeks ago, it was over $100. That you are now, you give him a pen, you could write down. But I'll wait until you get your pen.
No, you go ahead, go ahead.
No, I'll give you a chance
Go
to
ahead.
write all you want.
No, sir,
Yes.
no, sir, please go ahead. Financial feasibility.
Right, so at $95 per barrel of heavy fuel oil, that's the price. The cost of fuel for generation is 13 cents per kilowatt hour. And when you write this down, man, write it down, give him the pen. So 13.3 cents per kilowatt hour, there's a fuel cost alone. Right? You got that down. Now, if you continue with this, when you look at total cost, it's over 20 cents per kilowatt hour we are generating that, US cents. When you put in transmission and everything, we're selling over 30 cents per kilowatt hour. That's the price of electricity today. So we are estimating the pipeline to be about $1 billion. Right? The estimate for the pipeline is about $1 billion. Write down $1 billion there too. We then are estimating the power plant. We had estimated it to be about $750 million. The power plant and the NGL facility. Today the bids were open. We had 5 bids ranging from $450 million or so to $900 million. Right? So 5 bids in that range. 2, another one at 5 something, and 2 around $700 million. So those are the bids that came in that were open today at the tender. So when you add the two, say add $1.7 billion. At $1.7 billion, we will build this project. We will pay back for that project, and we'd be able to generate power at 5 cents per kilowatt hour by paying back every cent for that project and generate power at 5 cents per kilowatt hour because the gas is coming in free. So our total generating cost will be 1/4 of basically what currently obtains. What other financial feasibility do you need? Which other financial feasibility?
Thank you.
So I'm not done as yet. Now that is paying back if we sell power at 5 cents per kilowatt hour. But allied to this is the NGL facility that would give us a number of liquids, cooking gas, etc. When we sell those items, we can then pay back for the power plant and the pipeline and everything else without even charging a rate for electricity. Without even charging. That's it. So you understand?
I'm going to come back to this.
Yeah. What other financial feasibility you need? You tell me.
I'm going to come back.
Even a man who doesn't have any brain would see that this is a no-brainer project. It's a project that is good for the country and good for everybody. Yes, but you tell me what financial feasibility you want.
Let me ask this first. All the gas experts have warned Guyana against investing in gas plants, including the United Nations and the Environmental, Social and Governance Fund.
Stop just
One second.
Pure nonsense.
Let me finish.
Yeah.
We have seen the experience of Ghana. I have seen it, we have reported it umpteen times, losing $250 million US yearly on their gas plants, which the World Bank financed and left them in. When they find themselves in that jam, World Bank turn and tell Ghana, we are sorry. Why? You, sir. You and your government are running ahead with something Guyana have no experience, one, we have no experience with, and there is no solid evidence whatsoever that this project will ever be fruitful will ever be
So
fruitful.
you make
I
a
have
speech.
asked, no, I have asked you just now for a financial feasibility study, if it has been done. You went on, let me go finish.
So let me get a chance.
Go ahead.
So you like to name drop.
You're
You're name dropping. No, you're name dropping.
Yeah, go ahead.
So the UN said this, don't use gas. Some other agency said don't use gas. Before COP26 again, I got a call from the US. President Biden has decided that no new investments in fossil fuel related assets will be supported. So the IDB vetoed a loan that was the money Schwartz wanted to borrow from the Inter-American Development Bank. European Union said no new investments in fossil fuel. So we argued, and clearly this doesn't resonate with some people, that if you do that, what will happen is that you are effectively creating a monopoly for the existing producers. Now, today, every country in the world is trying to build more gas power plants. Europe, Africa, the United States, because guess what has happened? They decided, let me tell you, I'm telling you because I know. Because I'm telling you because just read the newspapers.
No, sorry, at least name one.
No, but
I don't know
all
of
right.
any. I don't know of
Germany.
Germany has
Germany, Qatar, Germany. Qatar is doing one of the biggest expansion in the world in gas to produce LNG for supplying Europe. I just name one. Country. It's the biggest.
Google.
Yes, Google it for him. We can stop and I can give you a chance. No. I'm drinking some tea. I give you a chance so you will stop talking nonsense.
No.
I can give you a chance. Hold
I
on.
don't know
Then stop talking. Let them Google it. Qatar and LNG.
The entire world.
No. Relax, man. Relax.
LNG?
Let me drink some.
The entire world.
Give him. Google it.
The entire world.
All right. Relax. Not the entire world.
Is
Now,
getting-
if you check all the websites, there is now an understanding that you cannot achieve net zero without gas being used as transitional fuel. Every single sane person has accepted that. The United States has accepted it. Europe has accepted it. The Secretary General of the UN is reluctant to accept it, but those are the countries that are investing. If you look at Africa now, there was a group that's saying Africa shouldn't use it. Africa has said, go to hell, we're developing our gas resources. 600 million people without power. So this is important, very, very important. So that you understand that what you're speaking of is dated information. You're talking about 8 months ago before COP26. All of this has changed. The same people who tried to dissuade us.
Northfield South expansion, this is 2022. This
Northfield.
Qatar.
Read it.
Read the thing, man. Read.
Northfield.
This Qatar's expansion now.
On-
28 billion.
On what?
Gas, 28 billion.
LNG.
LNG?
Yeah, that's-
Yes, which is gas. So you're wrong on that.
No.
No, you are wrong. You would not admit
Alright.
it. So now let me come back.
These are countries these are countries who have been in this business, like you earlier said, hundreds of years. Trinidad is in it. Trinidad is making a few cents. My question to you
Trinidad
here,
is making a few cents
fine.
now. Trinidad
Yes.
looking to expand.
Trinidad is making a few
But
cents.
you know they're looking to expand.
Fine.
And you know the only reason they
But
have
they
because
were in this business all their life, and they already have a market for that. Here we are
Glenn,
going.
please
Yes,
don't
sir.
talk about anything you don't know about.
Sir,
If you
at
can
least-
produce LNG today, if you can produce LNG, the demand for LNG is unbelievable. You can sell every bit of LNG that you can produce.
I may
We're
not-
not producing LNG,
I may not be an expert.
but you're talking
in
nonsense. It's not that
But
you're not
I
an
can
expert.
only tell
You gotta
you-
have common sense.
I can
too.
tell you the explanation you give on all this how much 100 billion you're buying
No,
heavy
man,
fuel.
oh
One second,
God.
let me finish. How much 100 billion we are
You're
spending
talking like
on
that
heavy
we did a
fuel?
cake shop here, man.
No. All right, you said that we are spending 100 and something million on heavy fuel.
No,
And-
man, I never said that.
But that's what is costing GPL at present, sir.
Yeah. But I never said
Well,
that.
I'm actually telling you.
Right, but I said
Because
it's.
it's something I know. and
Yes,
you're
but
telling me
I
that
said,
don't know.
you said
Now-
that I said that, but I
now-
only said that
That
heavy
is
fuel
what-
oil at $95 a barrel, it works out to 13.3 US cents
Exactly.
per
And you're
kilowatt
moving,
hour.
and you're moving from heavy because Exxon had bring the same discussion already.
Which exam bring what
ExxonMobil.
discussion? What discussion?
The same discussion of
What discussion?
about the LNG, about the gas plant, and they said no.
There's no
answer.
LNG, we're not producing LNG.
They said the electric plant. They said ask the government. That's why I'm asking you because they
But
said,
I've been explaining this, that's why, you know why I'm
ExxonMobil-
offended? We've given so much explanation, and people, it's like they live in a vacuum.
I don't-
The newspaper continue with this nonsense.
No,
Oh,
sir.
nobody in the world developing gas. Everybody wants gas now. The US, Europe, Qatar, there's unlimited demand. Asia needs it in large quantities.
you keep, and this is not my expertise, but I'll try to see how I can get this nation to understand this discussion.
But
we're
you
having.
can't get no nation to understand. You misleading the
No,
nation every day.
you're saying that we are paying 13 cents at present, and you can reduce that to 5 cents with this type of figure.
No,
I
I'm saying
don't
not
know-
13 cents alone and we reduce to 5. I'm saying it's over 20 cents.
Fine, whatever you're paying now, and you will reduce it to 5.
That is
The world is generating electricity now for 3 cents. 3 cents.
Which world?
This world, this present world in which we live, and I want to move away.
Man,
and
here
come
now.
back.
Which nonsense you talk? Go check it to the price. 3 cents.
3 cents.
Here,
3 cents.
listen.
3
The
cents.
world not generating electricity for no 3 cents. They big ranges. You got big ranges. The price of fuel alone, gas in Europe, has gone up quadruple. You think that 3 cents now they can do that?
It has
Quadruple.
Sir, it has gone up in Europe because of the war between the UK.
Yes, but you think it's
So-
3 cents?
So let's don't tie that.
No,
up.
but
Just
the price
discussion.
of gas now. So let me just go back to the key point that we're making. That you keep harping on this financial issue. First of all, net zero can never be achieved without a transitional fuel. And gas, the world has accepted that gas shall be that fuel. In Guyana's case, we've decided to monetize this gas. We're making an investment that will be paid back from the liquids in the NGL plant, and we will generate enough power at a price that would allow us to sell it at half of its current price and have stable power and still make money for GPL.
But there's
that
no
is-
evidence to that, sir.
No, well,
That's
how we
that's
have
my
even built
point.
the
Can we
power
move on?
plant? No,
Can we move
what
on?
kind of
Can we move
evidence?
on?
How can we supply evidence
Can
to you?
we-
You know what
A
people like you
financial
want?
feasibility study
you-
will cover everything.
No.
sir.
We have financial feasibility studies for almost everything.
No, sir.
For almost everything. But here, listen to this. People
But what
like
is so
you,
hard? What's so hard to do?
every day I see, oh, the bridge. Let's don't build the bridge because you might get accident. The bridge would collapse. The road, people might have a crash there. With people like you, we'll never build anything.
Sorry.
You and the problem is that you pontificate
Sorry.
as though they have knowledge and you speak
Sorry.
with knowledge.
With
When it's
all
not a lot of
due
nonsense.
respect, sir, with all due respect, sir,
What?
$2 billion American dollars on a gas plant that we have no experience and we know nothing about. We know about rice, we know about sugar, we can't get a sugar plant and a rice factory up and running.
Glenn,
Sir, one
Glenn,
second, let me finish. $2 billion American dollars I am talking about.
It's hard.
This country sits with $3 billion debt for how many years? And all we are asking for, all the nation is asking for, Lall is asking for, is a financial feasibility study to be done to show Lall, to show the entire nation that this project is going to be viable for the people of this
I will
country.
show you the financial statements so that you will know. But even if I show you the financial statements, you probably will not accept it. Now, I just
We need to see that.
I just sought to explain to you that even if we spend $2 billion, 1.75, we calculated it, is that we will still pay back for that and generate power at 5 cents per kilowatt hour. That pays back for itself. The NGL facilities alone with the liquid, when we sell the cooking gas, that alone, the cooking gas and the other liquids, can pay back for the power plant and the NGL facility in a few years because we're getting the gas free.
I hear you, sir.
How do you invest if then we don't know much
I hear you, sir.
so we must just put up a power plant?
No, sir, I hear you.
I
hear
don't
you.
understand.
I hear you, sir.
It's hard. Let me tell you.
Other than the project
For
cost,
me, as a technical person sometimes, right, as an economist, it's hard to explain things to you.
let's get
because-
someone to explain it.
But I don't understand. It's not that I'm deficient, it's you deficient with your understanding of the matter as though I'm deficient.
All I'm asking
It's your understanding is limited and deficient. So
The
it's
whole
hard to
world-
explain
the
that.
whole world- Okay, let me ask another question to that.
All right, you go on. Because
The unknown, let's put it's an unknown cost we have been
Yeah.
dealing with now, right? So you're putting 1.7. I'm saying it's unknown,
all right.
right?
All right,
You're-
okay.
You're telling the nation that the gas is free. We're getting it free from ExxonMobil.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any other cost attached that this country doesn't know
What
to that? So Exxon is just giving me the gas to the gas plant for free. That's what you're saying, and we are only paying for the thing for the.
You're not making sense. If they're gonna build the project.
Yes, I understand that. That's built in the cost. I'm saying when they start producing and selling gas to the gas plant, is there any other cost?
Like what other costs? Like what other costs you could have?
I'm asking you.
No, what? Like the man gonna buy like palawi to eat in the plant?
No, sir.
What costs?
Who will take care of any insurance in the event of that plant?
The place will be insured.
Like
It
the
has
same
to
way-
be
the same way we have
because we
oil-
will own with the government of Guyana will own the power plant and the NGL facility. So
Not
we
the
have
plant. I'm talking about the pipeline.
the pipeline has to be insured.
And who's insuring that?
It is the company that will operate the pipeline, ExxonMobil.
The same way they're giving us insurance.
Oh man, that's another
Alright.
matter. But you ask
Now,
and
is
I
there any
answer.
maintenance cost?
The-
Guyana maintaining the pipeline?
Listen, that is precisely the cost. Our total cost, O&M, operation of maintenance for the pipeline, for the power plant, for the NGL facility are all covered in the 4 to 5 cents per kilowatt hour. All of that is contained. We have a figure for that, $30 million a year.
So all these things will be made public to the nation.
Yes, of course, but
And this will, you're gonna throw these documents in the open.
Yeah.
So nothing will be a secret.
right. But the thing is that you have all of these people. Oh, well, Norton. Why don't they? Anyhow, let me don't waste my time
All
with
right.
these people.
Private people are being pushed into this project.
Private people.
Private.
Like pushed into what?
Well, the gas plant.
Like how?
You,
What do you
have,
mean?
you guys have advertised for private investors into the gas plant.
No man.
Yes.
What do you advertise to private investors at the Gulf? Where did you get that from?
Well,
Some rumor mill again.
No.
Just like how you say I own the Marriott. Up to a couple days ago you had that in a newspaper that I own the Marriott.
I didn't say you own the Marriott.
I said I put private people into the Marriott to secretly.
Yes, I said
but
that.
the government own 100% of it.
No.
Oh God, it always owned
No.
100%. So
The
that was a
private-
lie.
the state, no, sir.
It was
No,
a
sir.
lie, and
You have-
anyhow. Which private?
You have,
What do you mean?
You have installed, as you raised the Marriott, I didn't want that. You have installed private investors into the Marriott
When
from its inception.
there's never been a private investor. We
Republic-
sought to
Republic Bank was-
privatize. Republic Bank is not a private investor, man. They've supplied a loan.
No, sir. No, sir.
They
No,
supply.
sir.
They don't have equity.
They
There is
have-
a
they
difference
have
between. They not no. They have Glen Lall. There is something called equity, and there are loans. Republic Bank finance through loans. They don't have equity. Equity is ownership. That is the difference between. It's hard to explain financial issues to you because there is a massive difference between equity. The government of Guyana has always owned 100% of the Marriott, period. We tried to privatize it, it did not work. We tried to privatize it.
Marriott was a PPP project.
Yeah,
Private-public partnership project, sir.
It was not, it's not, no, here, no. It
Sir,
started.
it was done under your presidency,
And
and it was a private.
And we sought
public
private,
partnership.
we sought private interests, and we never got the private interest.
Sir, we carried a million story on that thing.
And all were wrong.
No.
That's why Brassington sued you,
never-
and every time
you-
you're winning all the cases.
Brassington never sued me on Marriott.
Brassington sued you. How many cases Brassington won?
19.
19 you won
He
already? For life?
He wins 7.
You
And if you
win
win the rest, that's fine.
How much money you had to pay him so far?
I said what I had to say, and I'm telling
But
you.
that's the problem.
I'm saying
because
that-
you say what you gotta say,
No.
whether it's true or not.
Because it's true.
All right, but go back to the. Let's go back. No. Let's go back. Let's go back.
Are you saying that the Borby's Bridge is not a public-private partnership too?
Yes, but
Are you saying that too?
no, the Berbice Bridge is a public-private partnership.
The Marriott is
The
not.
Marriott is not.
And the gas plant you're heading into there is another one.
No, oh
Let's go.
God. No.
Let's
All
make
right,
it.
okay.
Let's make
But
it.
where did you see us advertise to whom to go there?
I saw in some one. Let's just.
No. You know you're lying there again because we just opened a bid today to build the gas, the power plant, and the NGL facility, and it's all owned by the government of Guyana. So I don't know where you got this from. It's one of these gaff sections, and then you reported it. It's going to be front page headline: private ownership of the gas power plant, and you will never retract it when you find out it's not true.
All right, let's.
But that's a lie.
Let's go on.
That's
a
a lie.
Let's
Right.
go on a lighter note.
All right, no.
Do you
let's-
honestly believe? Do you honestly believe that Exxon will close operations and leave Guyana if the government asks them for more royalties?
I don't
or
know.
profit
I don't
sharing?
know. You ask for short answers. I don't know. Do you know?
Um,
Do you know?
Yes, I know.
Right.
They will never leave
Yeah. Well.
because it's too lucrative here.
All right.
They get everything for free, so they will not
Okay,
leave.
all right.
So you don't know that.
Yeah.
I love that question.
Yeah.
I love the answer.
Answer. You like it, right?
Suriname president said the oil does not belong to the government or any political party. It belongs to the people and they must benefit, including future generations. Do you believe in this principle?
Yeah, well, your politicians gaff all the time, but when every day you wake up in the morning and look at planning your budget, and I've had a long period of doing this. From the early days when we did not have any money in the state sector, we were scrounging to pay debts. So every day there is a big demand out there for things. And you have to make them work. Until now, Suriname has not even proven its reserves as yet. If because it has not completed the assessment. So they're a long way from developing these resources. We're here and now. People do think, and every time we raise a lot of expectation, people think it's going to be money forever and that it's large sums. Right now, it's not a large sum. With net zero, that is why our depletion policy, which you don't agree with, is to accelerate because we're conscious of the net zero scenario. Look at a single year of revenue from one of these companies. Two big infrastructure loan projects. The hospital, the children's hospital, and the bridge across the Demerara River. It's 1 year's allocation. People need this, and that is why we gotta invest in these resources. That is what bothers me. So politicians tend to say lots of things. You know, when it sounds good, soundbite. I'm not saying President Santoki has said this, but how many other? APNU in 2015 said people were paying too many taxes. They came in and then increased 200 taxes and fees. If you trust politicians on their work, that is why we stick faithfully to the manifesto. I'm not into all of these lofty sounding things. Every day we gotta fix people's things. And that's what we're doing now. Building more hospitals, more schools, more scholarships to people, helping with the cost of living. That is where our concern is. I'm not into all the gaff.
I asked a very simple question.
No, but
And
I'm
were
telling
supposed to give
you,
me a
I'm
simple
telling you,
answer.
no, that's
If you
the answer.
agree with the principle
That's the answer.
that the oil money should be for the people.
But
It
that
belongs
is
to-
precisely, yeah, I agree.
Ghana, population of 31 million people. It's slightly bigger than Guyana. Mhm. They're extremely rich in minerals. They got gold, diamond, bauxite, manganese, oil, everything, you name it. The capital before it was renamed Accra was called Gold Coast, known for gold galore. You've been there. I've been there. More than half of its population is carrying true life.
I cut the short the reading and go straight to the question.
with less than
I'll read the
200
whole
hours.
preamble there.
No proper electricity, no clean drinking water is a scarce commodity. And you don't want to see the roads. You've been there, like I said, you've been there. You don't want to see how people live on a day-to-day basis. The government have the foreigners fetching away every ounce, every leaf, every drop. Right? And guess what's happening now? The government at present, when I was there just 6 weeks ago,
You were telling me a bedtime story.
No.
I come here to
No.
answer tough questions.
they have
story.
GRA.
Here.
They have GRA, Ghana Revenue Authority, on the streets in groups, stopping taxi, demanding tax returns to see the driver's tax returns in Ghana, while they have the foreigners fetching out their gold, diamond, oil, bauxite, and everything. What do you say?
Yeah. Well,
Where is Guyana?
I think it's an unfair characterization of all that's happening in Ghana, because there are many challenges for countries in that part of the world, and very limited resources too. But to develop all of these resources you talk about that Ghana has, it has to have capital to do that too. And so many remain in the ground because they don't have capital to develop them. Now clearly, I can't speak about Ghana. I can tell you what's happening in Guyana, and I can tell you what the PPP stands for. That's because I am the General Secretary of the party, and I can account for the stewardship in our period in government. That's what I can account for. So when we took office in 1992, the per capita GDP was $300 US. Today it's $9,000. Right. when the interest rate used to be 40%. Today, you can borrow at 8-9%. For mortgages, even lower. There was no housing program. I recall being here when there was no electricity for 2 weeks. The roads in Georgetown, impossible. You know, you drove on the road from the Central Bank to the Ministry of Finance, took about 20 minutes. In front of Palm Court, had a deep hole. We didn't have much because the scheduled debt service was 153% of revenue. When we paid actual debts, 94% of revenue. And today, you know where we are? Our foreign debt is 16% of GDP. That's one of the lowest in the world. We're using 6% of revenue, down from 94%, to pay that debt. So our fundamentals are better. Then the interest rates have come down. Our exchange rate has stabilized. I'm telling you about our stewardship. We have now about 75,000 houses more built, nice houses, new housing schemes from Block 22, Amelia's Ward, Diamond, Eccles, all these places across the country than when we got into office. More people own cars. No, you're telling me about people and their lives.
We have 10
That
people.
is, no, it doesn't matter.
Ghana has 31 billion people.
No, but 31
all
million.
I'm saying, all I'm asking,
But you're
all I'm
no,
asking, sir.
You
I'm
asked
showing
about
you-
what is going to happen in Guyana. So you asked.
I didn't ask what happened. I just told you what's happening in Ghana with their resources, what the government is allowing, and the state of affairs in which the people are
Right.
living. Half of that
And-
population is living 31 million with less than $2 a day. I'm saying to you, sir, I'm seeing the same trend beginning to
No.
appear in Guyana.
Well, again, you are wrong.
All our gold,
Yeah, but
all our diamond,
but let's talk
all our
about two
bauxite,
things.
all our oil are going the same
No, but
way
let's
Ghana government is
no,
allowing.
let's talk about. We disagree fundamentally on this. So let's talk about people and their lives. People's lives are changing for the better here. Our country is different today than it was 10 years ago, and significantly so. And so our children now, we intend to use every cent to improve the lives of our people. So you're not investing it in a new building for the president. Now, some countries, soon as they get the oil, they have a new presidential palace or something like that. In Guyana's case, we have decided to spend nearly $400 odd million on hospitals for our people. And I saw...
You sure you want to go down that road?
Yes, I want to go down that road because you said you could build a hospital for 48 million. Let me
I can
tell you.
build three hospitals for 48 million.
Man, that is
310-story.
310 story.
310-story. Don't go down that road with me.
Let me tell you. Go to Europe. Go to the United States and ask what is the price for a hospital per bed.
Oh my gosh.
Per bed.
Oh my
And no,
God.
Glenal,
So are you going to equate a house, your house, cost to a same size house cost in the US?
because
That's what
that
you're
is the same standard we
saying?
want to
sir,
have.
No, sir. Come on, don't do that.
But
to me.
listen,
So you're saying a two-bedroom house in Guyana if it carry $5 million, $5 million.
No, because
in
if you
So what are
look
you
at the
saying?
construction costs and the equipment, whether they
Come on,
they-
don't
and
do
you
this,
think an
don't do
MRI equipment
Don't
or an MRI or a CT scan or operating theater, that the price that they pay in the US, you're gonna get it cheaper here for the world class, a Siemens or GE one.
You can get it cheaper here.
No, you will probably pay more than the US because the
No,
US.
sir.
You
No,
know,
sir.
but we should.
No, sir.
You know what we should
You
do? We
need-
should hire you as a procurement in fact, you're the export and everything. You're export on oil and gas. Yeah.
To do an X-ray here, an X-ray for your foot, it's a few $1,000s. In the US, it's a couple $100.
Yeah,
So
because
you cannot.
because
don't do
the
this,
cost is subsidized.
Please don't do this.
No,
don't do this.
Glenn,
Let's not go to this.
No.
You're going to raise an answer here. that
No,
I am
but
not-
you
I am
are.
not
But
doing.
I want to raise this answer.
Can you? I am willing
Because
to.
you
I am
consider.
willing. I am willing.
We will give you. We will give you.
Yeah.
We will give you.
All three hotels today.
No,
All
the
three
hospital.
hotels today.
So we will give you
40 million.
48 million,
Yes.
and you'll build 3 10-story.
Hospital for you.
How many beds?
Um,
And equip
what do
them.
you mean equip? Equip with what? Modernized.
Yes, yes.
You have any? You have modernized.
But
hospitals
that
there?
is what these hospitals are going to be doing.
No, sir.
Not
We have been hearing about modernization of
Yes.
hospitals since 1992.
Glenlal,
And where are they?
Glenlal,
What has?
you're here now. We just awarded the Children and Maternal Hospital to a group from Austria. They have to do a turnkey project, which involves 256 beds in the hospital.
What type of bed?
Several operating, the specs are known, several operating theaters. So you want to build only the shell. You build, you think it.
Exactly. I give you. I'll probably give you beds in there.
No.
I'll give you beds in there.
Beds. You think that
I'll give you
hospitals
beds
are
in
built
there.
like you build a cake shop
I'll give you beds in. I'll give you 400 beds in each one.
in each one,
Ten
and
stores.
operating theaters and MRI equipment and everything.
Operating theater is just a room, bro.
All right, okay.
So, don't bring all these
listen.
fancy things about operation theater, seating capacity.
All right,
and
all
these
right.
things.
We can do a test case.
And I'll give you back the change.
Galal, you're totally mad if you think that's the case. Mad. Anybody who has done a single hospital would know that the floor of the hospital, the metal is a kind of linoleum
It's a rubber.
that they put it. It's a rubber. That alone,
I have
the
it
kinds of
downstairs
bed,
here.
you got it
I
downstairs.
have it the whole downstairs.
And you buy down Regent Street from the Chinese store.
You're telling me.
thinking it's impossible to talk to you because why didn't you tender? Why don't you tender for some of these things? All the roads are bad, but you never tender. You can do it better.
You want to go down the road to tender?
No. If you want to do a hospital, I would love to give you a 10-story hospital for $15 million, 1/3 of the price, right? So we'll give you a 10-story hospital, you build it and equip it, and then we'll be happy with that.
I am
Okay?
there, I am going to do it.
All right, so
And as you talk about tender, I want to tell you this, as you bring up this tender, there's a book, Tender Out, to supply the Ministry of Education with books, exercise books.
and you tender for it.
I have a machine to make the exercise book. I'll be supplying Suriname with it. And guess what? I have never gotten a contract from this government. And that's the only exercise
No,
book
but have you tendered?
I'm coming to you.
Yeah.
I have seen the tender document that Glenlal Kaicho News cannot meet the requirement. And that's what you people have done.
What you
Let me
can
finish.
be. No.
Let me
But
finish.
you bring
The
it. You
requirement-
just get off. You get off.
No,
What requirement?
The requirement
No,
you
but
have
what requirement you can?
to have one,
To show your tax return?
no, to have the funds available in a bank, 25% for the project. You gotta have the
25% for a project?
25% of the cost of the project. You have to show the tender board that you have secure for this contract.
Yeah, but you
Now,
get a bank.
there's
the bank if you have secured it, all you gotta do is if you're tendering, you gotta show you got a line of credit.
Sir, nobody in Guyana can do that for the Ministry of Health.
Everybody who bids for big contracts, they have to do that.
No,
They
I-
have to show that they have financial capability. But you believe this is a cake shop thing, you could just walk in
No.
and get it.
No,
You
you're
have
missing
to
the boat.
show financial capability.
You're missing the
And
boat,
then
sir.
if another person doesn't do that, you go and say, how did they get the contract?
You are
How
missing the boat.
he didn't have
I can
financial
show you- I
capability.
can show you how people got contract and didn't even have a spanner in their hand. I
Right.
can show you that.
Yes,
And the
but
people who have the printing factories that own these printing factories are being shut.
All right, I will look into this.
Wait,
But
look, this has been
no.
This has caught your attention many times.
But what I will look into this and we'll give an explanation, and I hope you publish exactly what the explanation is in the newspaper. Don't distort it, please. Right? I'll give you the explanation. I'll find out why, and if they're screwing up, then we'll call it. Because for us, we want to get the best price in every one of these things. So I would wish that, can you take a walk through, just look at the cost of hospitals around the world. Just take one day and read about it. What a modern hospital costs per square footage. And then you will understand what we have to build. It's not what we were building in the past. Now we are trying to raise the standard. We were building with probably ceramic tiles. We were doing it in the past. But as the commitment now to raise the level of healthcare, that is why we said all these new hospitals must, even the rural ones, must have a CT scan. They never even had probably X-ray. They got to have a CT scan now. So they got to get 2 operating theaters, a third one, and these are high quality operating theaters. An operating theater with all the lights and the setup could run you into $1 million US. A proper operating theater. And so that is what we want to do, raise the level of healthcare. So please do one thing, just check globally what it takes to build and equip a hospital, the cost per bed or square footage. And you will see that your 45 million, 48 million wouldn't build even one hospital.
I don't know the school name, but
yeah, but can you please do that? Can you please take some time and look at it? Don't go anecdotally and
Camp Street and Breakdown, there's a flat school there opposite.
Yeah, that, 100 years ago you said that. Yeah.
Opposite New Driving. It was built by the Americans.
Mm.
And the cost was enormous what the Americans put out. Had Guyana built it, it would have been nothing. You know why it was that cost? Because the workers that worked there were Americans. They were being paid American salary. So how can you equate an American building costs to a Guyanese building cost at the same size or same specifications?
You think the building costs in Guyana for high quality buildings is much different? In fact, when people come here, they're shocked for the proper quality building, because we don't, for example, we don't produce glass. If you have to put glass on your building, you have to go through several third parties. They jack up your price, the glass. We don't produce steel. Steel gets imported. The importers drop a big margin on the steel, maybe a 50% margin. So in the US, competitive, they may have a 10-15% margin. Here, they drop a 50% margin on steel. By the time you look at the cost of building material, it's very high. So you should look again. You're talking about buildings like maybe a home might cost a little bit less. We could build a low-income house for $30,000-$40,000, a low-income house. But you can't, when you go up with hospitals and the high-end things like a power plant, we want to use Siemens or GE equipment in the plant. It's going to be extremely expensive, and sometimes we're not even competitive.
You're moving away from a building to equipment.
Yeah, but
having said
no. But what do you think these hospitals were done? So can you please do that for me? And I will call you back when you have had 1 day a week of reading about hospitals. I'll call you back, because you let your newspapers, run off fly your mouth a lot in the newspapers, and it's not factual.
Mr. Vice President.
Yeah, go on. Yeah, I said something else.
I want to tell you something. It was a pleasure.
Oh, you finished already? I thought we had a couple of things more.
I wish, like I said in my beginning, that we're working together to make Guyana a better place for all its citizens.
Yeah.
And this discussion here going on further will not get us anywhere. We're just going kind of
Yeah,
business.
but can we have a new understanding that if you get explanations, you carry the explanation. It seems as though once you have a position, regardless of the most sensible and logical explanation, you don't adjust your position.
I do.
You don't never,
Everything
because
I speak from experience. When I
not
don't
experience, you believe you're
when I
expert
don't
on
know-
everything,
When
yeah.
I don't know, I tell you plain, I'm not versatile in it, and I move away.
But a lot of times,
Everything that we've talked about here tonight,
right.
I am fully okay with. That I stand my ground on everything what I'm saying.
Yeah, but I
have
stand
said-
my ground too because
I have said that 3 cents is the cost for electricity. You can come here and do that in this country.
all right, but who will do it?
I have
Why-
people-
can you get somebody tomorrow? If you can get somebody to generate power, let's start.
Will you give them a
Listen, a
binding
power
contract?
purchase agreement.
Agreement.
So I'm making this a test case now. That if you can bring a serious investor, not the men them like what's it
Whatever,
right from
whatever, you want a serious-
yes, I know some of the guys who get off and come around on the oil and gas thing like here, the locals. I was gonna call a name, but I didn't call his name.
Right.
Right, because I know who I'm talking about. So if you could find a serious, I'll give you 3 weeks to do this, and you will put in your newspapers. I found this person, Jagdeo, said on a radio program that they will give a power purchase
Cheaper than what?
agreement. No, at 3 cents per kilowatt hour. Right, includes fuel costs. Right? That 3 cents per kilowatt hour to the government of Guyana, and he has not honored the commitment. If you can put that in your paper. If you can't within 3 weeks come up with a sensible deal, you will say, I want to apologize to the government of Guyana. I was talking nonsense on this program.
No, I am saying that's a cost the world is paying now. I'm not telling anybody should put that to you, sir.
So how much
I'm
will you
saying
put to
what I'm
us?
saying.
How much will
All
you
I'm
put to
saying-
us?
all
Like
I'm
no,
saying-
but you
I
just
will
said you
ask
can
a
get
few people-
somebody to come here.
I will ask a
Okay,
few people
so, yeah,
to put together a proposal
All right, so-
for the government of Guyana, and it can handle
Yeah,
it.
but you
That's what
said
I'm
you
saying.
just said
I am saying the cost.
You're
to
backing out
produce-
of this thing?
No. I'm saying the cost to produce electricity in today's world
All
is about 3
all right,
cents.
all right. So say 5 cents. Let's shift it upwards.
Good.
So at 5 cents per kilowatt hour
And
delivered to the
back.
government, right? And if you 3 weeks pass and you can't get this
I
company,
will apologize to the
you
radio.
would apologize on the radio
Yeah.
and in the newspapers to
Yeah.
say I was talking
Yeah.
something else. And then if you find out on the cost of hospitals to fully equip hospital, you put a public notice. I've checked this thing, and you can't build a public hospital at this cost.
I'm going to get that done for
Right.
you too.
Okay then. All right.
With that said,
well then that's good.
you had me close your press conference. I'll give you that privilege to do the same. But let me tell my listeners, thank you guys. It has been a pleasure sitting here, getting hungry. Putting up with our vice president isn't an easy task, VP. But I am hopeful that weekly we can have him here
Weekly.
to iron out some of the burning issues that Guyana faces, especially in the oil sector.
And I wish
That's already
one
done.
yes. So first of all, I hope that you will invite the leader of the opposition to come here and to talk about their vision on oil and gas and what their plans are and ask some of the questions. And then you will see the qualitative difference between the PPP and the PNC. Then you will see the difference. Who fights for Guyana, and you make your own judgment. That's all I'm saying. So next week I'll be tuning in to see Mr. Norton on your program, answering some of the questions. Thank you.
With that, namaste.
Right.